Liz Harrington, RNC National Spokesperson, joining us here on the Chad Hasty Show. Liz, good morning. How are you today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
It's we're doing great, and we appreciate you taking some time to visit with us today. Joe Biden was finally allowed outside the basement yesterday. I think for the first time in 89 days, he took questions from the media. And, Liz, I don't know about you, but it reminded me of when President Obama was in office. The media was very polite, courteous, easygoing questions to the former vice president. You take those questions and then you compare that to the questions folks like Kayleigh McEnany or the president gets when they ask, does the president support the Confederacy versus the Union? No questions like that towards the former vice president yesterday.
Which is amazing because they had an opportunity to ask the candidate who bragged about being on the South side of the Civil War, Joe Biden. It's completely preposterous. So, yeah, we can't even count this. We were counting up, it was 89 days. It should still be 90 days because that wasn't a press conference because, for one, he had a pre-approved list of the reporters that he'd get questions from, that his handlers, they're so terrified. This is why they only let him out like once a week because they don't trust what he's going to say. And then the questions, if you could even call them that, you only had one basically legitimate question about the statues coming down, which Joe Biden said, I can understand why people are angry. Still refuses to condemn this lawless behavior from members of his own party when the DNC is tweeting out that Mount Rushmore is a symbol of white supremacy. Where was his condemnation of that? It was totally weak, but it was really just more of the same. It's pathetic. The press is totally in the tank for the Democrats. We knew this. So why even bother having these press conferences if they're not even going to ask him a single tough question?
I thought that I think it was a Fox News reporter who had asked the former vice president yesterday about his cognitive skills, and he says that he's been tested and he's tested many times. Like it's a constant thing for him to be tested, and I'm not sure if he got that confused with like coronavirus testing or if he has seriously tested that severely off. I mean, that doesn't sound good to me if I'm a voter, right? That the guy running for president is tested a lot to see if his cognitive skills are on the decline.
It doesn't exactly inspire a lot of confidence.
No.
It's incredible. That was the one tough question, and the Fox reporter did do a good job. He asked, are you committing to 3 debates? And Joe Biden said, yes, I'm ready to go. So we're going to hold them to that.
Do you think he will?
The campaign was upset by that.
I know you're going to hold him to it, but do you really think he wants 3 debates?
He does. He doesn't know where he is. He's threatening voters to take it to the outside, right? Let's go to out back and settle this, right? He thinks, he's on a different planet. But his handlers, they're certainly his left-wing radicals that are actually pulling the strings here and riding this as the cynical way to power that this is. They don't want that to happen. I mean, they're going to do anything they can to limit this maybe to 1, but we're going to hold them to that. And Joe Biden, he's out there. He said, let's do some push-ups, calling voters fat, challenging voters to IQ tests. He thinks he can take on anybody, and that's the big problem that his handlers have, because when they let him out of the basement, this is what happens, and it's a complete joke.
Visiting with Liz Harrington here on the Chad Hasty Show. Liz, I want to ask you about, I know it's so far out from the November election, and those who pay attention to politics every single day, they don't put a lot of stock into polling this far out. But as you know, there are a lot of American people, they see the headlines, and there are probably a lot of Trump supporters who read the headlines and go, oh my gosh, this thing's almost over. I mean, you read some of the headlines from the Washington Post and New York Times today, and they're basically declaring victory, that this race is over. There's no way that the president can win this thing. What do you tell the average voter who is just sort of, they're just kind of going through the headlines. They're not really paying that much attention, but maybe they're kind of feeling down right now about the president's chances at reelection.
Well, they shouldn't. The average voter is smart, and they've seen this movie before. I mean, it's the same exact playbook they did in 2016. Oh, Hillary Clinton's up by 10 points, 12 points. Oh, are they going to make a change at the top of the ticket? It's so absurd. It is so preposterous, and the people see that, and they know it's not true. And everything the Democrats and their allies in the media, the corrupt left-wing media, everything they do, it always backfires on them. And why are they putting out all these suppression polls when they ask 10 percentage points more Democrats than Republicans? Obviously, you're going to get a 10% so-called lead for Joe Biden. Everything they put out, that doesn't suppress our vote. It suppresses their vote because it's going to put in their minds, well, I guess Biden's got it in the bag. I guess I don't need to show up on Election Day. No, our supporters know what's at stake in this election. We know President Trump has had everything thrown at him, and yet he's accomplished so much for the American people. Case in point, today, USMCA goes into effect today. Mm-hmm. This is what Joe Biden voted for. This is what Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton said. It's got to be fixed. I didn't just start talking about this when I ran for president. That's what Barack Obama said. Well, what did he do about it for 8 years? President Trump said, no more NAFTA. I'm renegotiating this, and he did it. This is why he's going to win re-election, because he didn't lie to the American people. He didn't just get in there and sell out America's interests to the swamp like everyone else did when they promised hope and change, and at the end of 8 years they said, oh, it's all hopelessness. Those jobs, they aren't coming back. This is the difference, and this is the key, and this is what the swamp will never understand. President Trump actually likes this country. He loves it, and he went to Washington for a reason, to fix things and to deliver real results. And that's why we're going to go out and reelect him again, because we know it's so important to bring this economy back, which is already underway, and holding on to our values of why this country was founded in the first place. Equal opportunity for all. President Trump believes in that, and he delivers those results for everyone.
Liz Harrington, national spokesperson for the RNC. It's always a pleasure to visit with you, and we hope you enjoy the 4th of July weekend, and we'll visit with you again soon.
Absolutely. Happy Independence Day.
To you as well. That's Liz Harrington here on the Chad Hasty Show, News Talk KFYO.